Yes. So today I just want to touch a few topics in the political arena, particularly the United States, especially with this presidential race that we have ongoing. First up, I like to talk about Occupy Wall Street or just the Occupy movement in general. Over the last several weeks, several politicians and different individuals in the media have had several things and comments to say about Occupy Wall Street. So I just want to share my thoughts and my opinion on what I think about the movement. First off, let me say I support the movement. Now I know I may receive all kind of backlash, particularly from the Republicans, for saying I support this Occupy movement. But contrary to what the Republicans believe, I believe that every individual that's out there protesting, that's out there representing the Occupy movement, are not individuals that are simply out there looking for a handout. I believe that many of these men and women are individuals who were casualties of the market, casualties of the job market, because of corporate greed by executives and CEOs who lied about their financial records and several other things. And then when push comes to shove, the company fails. Meanwhile, these employees lose their jobs, and the CEO gets a $150 million parachute to continue his vacation life in the Hamptons or whatever. And this person is stuck trying to find a job. But if this is a situation with company A, it's a situation with company B, C, D, so on and so forth. So how are they going to find a job? You have all these individuals out of employment. So I think it's very important for Republicans to take back and gain a sense of reality and not be jaded and understand that these are not just people looking for a handout. And if you want to talk about people looking for a handout, let's look at these very corporations that have failed, that have received handouts from our federal government of taxpayer money. Meanwhile, they're not paying taxes. So they're running all types of profits now that they have cut jobs and all kind of other different benefits for employees. So now they're starting to turn profits, but they're still not paying any taxes. They're receiving taxpayer dollars, and in turn they're handing out bonuses to their executives. Now, let me clarify that I am definitely not one for socialism. I don't believe that because you have attained a certain level, you have reached a certain level, that hey, that's too much for you and you need to share what you have with someone else. I'm not calling for that, but what I am calling for is that actions do not need to be put in place, measures do not need to be put in place that actually limit the middle class and put burdens on the middle class, because what that does is squeezes out the middle class when we get into a situation of trying to budget, trying to balance the budget on the back of middle class America. I think we learned from several ages ago that a two-class society in England does not work. You know, having a structure, a social structure of the rich and the poor is not sustainable, and it's not a path towards success for this nation. There's many great perils across the world, and it's my belief that if we're going to continue to be the United States of America that we have been in the past, that we have known to be, then actions that do not squeeze out the middle class will need to be put in place. If you look at an average over several years, the top 1%, their salary has increased tremendously, whereas the middle class salary has maintained at a certain level, possibly even decreased. And in this election year, this election cycle, is very important for us to pay attention to the unemployment rate. Now, for a while, for several months, it has hovered around close to 10%, 9.8%, 9.7%. But recently, as of today, it's actually dropped to 8.6%, I believe. Now, it's important to pay attention to that, and it's also important to see, okay, so it's dropped to 8.6%, but don't lose perspective. Keep that in perspective and understand that all the jobs that we lost, because if we gain those back, that's not real. That's not a real gain. We're just gaining something back that we already had. A true gain is covering those losses plus some. So if we gain 120 jobs, the jobs report number as of today, December 2nd, 2011, I believe it was 120 jobs were added. We will need to start getting to the 300,000, 400,000 number before we're seeing real significant gains that covers the jobs that were lost and are now being recovered, and covering actual additional jobs that are really being added. Secondly, I want to discuss with you morality, and how it's sort of been lost in this whole political arena, and how it also branches out to other areas of society. In particular with Herman Cain, who's running for president. At one point, Herman Cain was sitting at top of the Republican ticket to be the nominee, in part because many were intrigued by his no-nonsense demeanor, his no-nonsense stance, and because his popular 999 tax plan. But over the last several weeks, his campaign has been ridiculed or stricken down with several allegations of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, and lately alleged 13-year affair with Atlanta businesswoman. Unfortunately, we're seeing these instances all too often in politics, and I think that has jaded the political arena, that citizens no longer trust these politicians. They look at everything that they say as simple rhetoric, as a way of simply getting elected. And I think it's until we all look in the mirror and do a self-check and understand what the position that we're running for, what the position that we want to attain, the responsibilities that it holds, the requirements that it holds, and what we will be measured against, until those people in those offices realize that, we will continue to see these instances occur. No one is above the law, no matter who you are. And ultimately, when you're doing right, it will show, and also when you're doing wrong, it will show. So those are just two areas, two hot topics that I thought were very relevant to speak on at this matter. So I will leave you with that, and till next time, take care.